Good evening and welcome to this special presentation here on Headlines Today. 41 pages. Yes, it took just 41 pages to put the gentleman's game to shame. Agreed, there have in fact been cases of fixing in cricket matches. But a never-seen-before report by the ICC's own watchdog, the Anti-Corruption and Security Unit, also known as the ACSU, has exposed just how deeply pervading this menace really is. The report is top secret. ICC is loath to make it public, but Headlines Today has got hold of it. We are calling it the Cricket Corruption Files.
Thus began a run-up to a scandal that shook the very foundations of Indian cricket, shook the faith of crores of fans, and put the future of India's favourite sport in jeopardy. Now what Headlines Today has is proof that the World Cup 2011 may itself be tainted. And also, for the first time ever, there's conclusive proof of IPL 4 being under the fixing cloud. Headlines Today has exclusively accessed the ICC report on corruption in cricket.
MS Dhoni will collect.
Report for the same year the World Cup was lifted by a jubilant team of men in blue. The report is exhaustive to say the least. A total of 470 matches along with more than 200 practice sessions were covered. Nearly 1,500 nights away and 1,100 cricket players and support staff covered under the probe.
The Anti-Corruption Unit of the ICC adopted a multi-pronged strategy to get its work done. First, it set up a squad that was in constant touch with players. It used their help to identify suspected or corrupt players and gain intelligence on them. The ACSU also developed and maintained working relationships with various intelligence and security agencies around the world to assist in its investigations. Third, the unit cultivated its own body of informers who were close to the targets of its investigations and who could provide critical information. Finally, it organized regular skill upgrade seminars for its members and had constant interaction with other sports bodies that are fighting corruption.
The effect was immediate. 281 inputs received, 11 of them for corruption, 124 for suspicious actions, 67 regarding suspect activities, 74 on technical data. A huge rise from the 158 intel reports received a year earlier. Shivani Gupta, Headlines Today.
All right, and to discuss this 41-page PowerPoint presentation that has been made by the ACSU, the Anti-Corruption Squad of the International Cricket Council, we have this entire detail. We also have to decode what exactly this report is all about. Nikhil Chopra, former cricketer here in our Delhi studio. Charu Sharma, cricket commentator, joins us too from Bangalore. We have Dr. Bimal Soni, who will be joining us in just a short moment, and Boria Majumdar, a consulting editor sports for the India Today group. I also have with me Shivani Gupta with me here in the studio. Well, before we come across to all of you, just to explain what really are these corruption files all about. It's the corruption case files. This is almost a 41-page presentation that was presented by the ACSU in the year 2011. Of course, it dates back. The report officially dates back, was presented in the ICC in the year 2012. Look at the number of matches that have been covered by this particular report, where the ACSU, that is the anti-corruption wing of the ICC, suspects foul play, that is suspects corruption cases, 470. Practice sessions, 214. That's really the level of scrutiny that the ACSU was actually conducting. And this has been spread over a period of 1,000 days. Nights away, 1,469. That really is the scale of this particular investigation. It has not been heard before. The exact report, nobody has it in his or her possession. But here on Headlines Today, we'll be moving slide by slide to explain what really this report actually talks about. It's a 41-page report. Over the next 120 minutes, we are going to take you through a 6-part investigation into 470 matches that were in scrutiny. Let me first quickly go across to Nikhil Chopra. Now, Nikhil, what really are you expecting in the form of this ACSU report? What do you think the ACSU anti-corruption wing of the ICC actually does?
Well, at the end of the day, for one, to try and eradicate any sort of foul play within international matches, the education part has got to be there with the help of ACSU. I know for a fact that, you know, they've got their hotline numbers on every single dressing room within the stadium. Even if there's a hint or an iota of suspicion, you know, people want to call the ACSU hotline numbers, it's displayed all over. But, you know, when you talk about Sanket, 470 odd international games have been probed, you know, over the last 3 years, if I'm not wrong.
Absolutely.
Or 4 years. You know, it'd be interesting to see what kind of information are they able to gather, because don't forget, international cricket councils, ACSU, maybe sometimes they get their hands a little tied. If they were, you know, in sort of close proximity working with, whether it's some of the independent agencies from India or South Africa, England, Australia, to actually get to the root cause or the bottom of this whole match fixing, betting scandal, who are the guys to watch out from? If they can go out there and tell some of the youngsters who are, you know, just getting into international cricketers with photographs saying, these are the guys you got to be careful of.
Okay. Welcoming Mr. Bimal Soni also with us in this special presentation. I'll ask my producers to pull up slide number 9 if they actually can on this plasma screen. But before we actually, all right, here you have it. Now this is the source of information of the ACSU, and Shivani as well as Nikhil, if you can just take a look at this monitor over here. Yes. ACSU source of information. Who actually has served as the source of the information according to their own presentation? 24 players were informers for the ICC, for the ACSU. There were 18 officials. ACSU has its own sleuths, its own sources. 125 of them who were working non-stop over a period of 1,000 days. And ACSU ops, that is operations, there were 66 operations that were actually carried out. Let me quickly also welcome Mr. Charu Sharma. Mr. Sharma, if you can hear me, what really do you think is the magnitude of this probe that is being carried out by the ACSU?
Yeah, hi Sanket. For starters, please know Mr. Sharma. It's Charu, always has been. No, it's a very impressive number. A couple of things are confusing. One is 214 practice sessions. I'm not so sure what you'll get through with practice sessions. Maybe you can see a few nefarious people hanging around, so that it makes it a little relevant. Otherwise, that's a bit of a waste of time. But, you know, there are many aspects here. For starters, you know, players are not zombies. You know, I mean, they do live on this earth. They are prone to problems that other citizens of this earth of ours are prone to. Now, you can lead one horse, or you can lead many horses to water. And yes, I take Nikhil's point completely. There has to be a lot more education, a lot more punishment. But you really can't make the horses drink, can you? And if somebody has to be unethical, you know, he or she sadly will be. So our punishment systems need to be very, very harsh. I don't know what the report throws up, and I suppose late in the program you'll show that to us in terms of hardcore fact. The only thing that we have to be careful here, and I'll say it again and again, is, you know, people say things like there's no smoke without fire and so on and so forth. But, you know, it's too easy to ruin the reputation of some icons or some cricketers or even youngsters. But there has to be hardcore proof, not just innuendo, not rumor, and not half-baked truths or some kind of allegation. So that's the key area here. If somebody is caught in some unethical activity, I think the punishment has to be so severe that the chances in the future are limited. Even as we say that, you know, for instance, murder has a life penalty or death, but have murder stopped? So, you know, there is human frailty. And we've got to account for that, whether it's 0.5% or, you know, 0.01%. It's something that the ACU can work very, very hard. All the cricketers can, but it's just so difficult to eradicate completely.
Absolutely, Charu. You know, point taken. That's exactly been our consideration also, Shivani, while we were going through this entire slide-by-slide presentation. We have decided that because this is under investigation, we are not going to name any players that have been mentioned in this particular PowerPoint presentation. We are not going to do that because we are not second-guessing an investigation process.